The Marinade.
There's no O in Marinade. Let's try it one more time. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
The Marinade.
Marinade.
Bone marinade. The Marinade.
The Marinade. With Jason Earl. Welcome to The Marinade, a free-flowing conversation about the creative process with creative people. Each episode, we welcome musicians, actors, comedians, authors, visual artists, filmmakers, anyone who creates art to talk about how and why we make stuff. This is episode 153, and our guest is Kaitlin Butts. Kaitlin is a singer and songwriter from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Her incredible record, What Else Can She Do, is an examination of complicated female characters who are up against all kinds of challenges, patriarchy, addiction, family issues, and as she puts it so beautifully, tension and them being at their lowest point. In other words, our kind of record. We caught up with Kaitlin in her car backstage after her set at the wonderful Orange Blossom Revue Festival in Lake Wales, Florida at the beginning of December. Y'all, if you can make it to Orange Blossom Revue at the beginning of December, put it on the calendar, plan on it every year. It's always incredible. And if you don't believe me, be sure to check out our 2 Jason's Journal recaps of that incredible experience, which you can find wherever you listen to podcasts. Y'all, this was maybe the most fun I've had making an episode. Kaitlin is smart. She's hilarious. I can't say enough about her as a songwriter, performer, and conversationalist. Everyone, it is my great honor to bring you my conversation with Kaitlin Butts.
Oh my God.
Cool. Hello. Do we sound fabulous yet? Do we sound so hot?
Oh my God, we sound so hot. So glad I'm rolling already. You kind of got to be careful with these cables. It's not hot when these cables bounce around.
Okay.
So just kind of be aware of that.
Okay.
But I have all these notes because I
saw you taking notes out there. I watched you.
Did you really watch me? You lie.
I did. When someone's reading or wearing the shirt that you're wearing, it's hard not to spot it and then also know that someone has a notepad in the audience and notice that. So yeah.
I'm wearing my Reed Band Books shirt, everybody, and apparently I was sticking out during Kaitlin's set.
You inspired. I really, whenever I saw that, I always forget, sometimes where I'm at, and I forget that we're here where that's a really huge issue, and being in Florida, and that you inspired me to want to, do a Say Gay chant. And I was like, how can I do that? How can I incorporate it into the set? As I'm seeing your shirt and seeing you out there, because it reminds me of where I'm at and what's really going on in reality. Yeah. And I really wanted to say gay, and I said gay at the end, but I think it just probably sounded like hey. But I said gay for you, Ron.
You can't do that here,
Kaitlin. I did. I did.
You can't do that. Okay, you just made my fucking day. I can't believe all of this is happening right now. I had a feeling I would throw out my notes during this conversation. It sounds like that's what's about to happen.
Yay.
Is that I did all this. Did you say gay again?
Yeah, gay.
Okay. Gay.
Okay.
I needed a couple of things that I didn't know I needed from your set. While you were watching me scribble things, what I was scribbling about was I'm going through a really heavy time right now, and it won't always be this way. Just it was exactly what I needed. Did you see me crying?
Did you see me crying?
No.
I cried.
Did you really?
Yeah, we're having a rough week too. So it's our bass player lost his sister this week,
God.
and so it's his first show back, and we're all wearing pink today because it was her favorite color. So,
oh my God.
so I was up there trying to get through my little speech that I normally do, and as I'm saying it, I'm like, this one back behind me right now is having a rough go at it. So I was starting to, I always get a little bit choked up, like talking about that kind of stuff, because I'm reminded every single time I say stuff like that of like people's individualism and what they might be going through, and so I can kind of see it in their faces a little bit, and I can kind of feel the weight of it. But I felt so much weight, talking about that. And so, I mean, what's going on with you? Why did that resonate?
My relationship.
I know I'm interviewing you. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about it, but I guess I am. My relationship of 10 years ended last week.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
it's not good.
It's the hardest thing I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just broke down. Just like couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But I needed it, right? So
Yeah.
that's the power of a song like that.
Yeah.
And I think when I think about, there were so many lines. I was doing like a deep dive into your last record, and as I was like going through it, and what else can she do, and listening to all these songs, there's just so many moments in there of these characters that are so real in that way,
Mm-hmm.
and that there is a through line of empathy that
Yeah.
I hear from you,
Mm-hmm.
not only in that conversation, not only in those songs, but then also from what I'm hearing you say now. I've gotten static. Don't do static. That's not sexy.
No, it's not hot. Is it better?
Yeah, that's better. Okay. Yeah, but there's like a through line of empathy with these characters who are so flawed, but also so beautiful in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that sense of empathy that you seem to have?
All of those characters, I feel like we all have been them at some point. There's different ones, and it's really all been POV me, and so it feels like empathy, but it's really like my whole family was going through a lot of stuff, just different things. We had someone in our family struggling with, substance abuse. My parents were going through a divorce. That kind of, it was just like turmoil the whole time, and I'm just kind of observing how everyone's feeling about it, and kind of taking it on myself, and trying to articulate like what in the fuck is happening to my life, and but then you see like the triumphant part of it on the other side, and it was a really, really rough time, but I feel like and it was all stories of women that are just like really going through it, but there's and whether or not they like make the right decisions to keep going, or whether they keep going back to a person, or they leave and don't know how they're gonna do it, they just keep kind of trudging through. And I think that was kind of my whole message to like myself in writing those songs, was like I was living it at that point. So it seems like empathy, and I was writing about these characters, but it was really me and my family and my life at the time. And now I can kind of look back, thankfully, and just know that was like a moment in my life. And now we're on the upside of things, which is like a message that I want to spread, that, I've been through all these things, and we got on the other side of it, even though we didn't think we could even have a good day. Like there was a moment where we were like, I don't even know like what a good day to us would look like. We're in the dark side of the hardest thing that anyone can go through is a divorce. It's like a statistic, like it's like one of the hardest things you can go through besides death of like someone you love, and because it feels like a death. And when you add like abuse and all the awful things that come with divorce, it just adds so much weight onto it. But I think the most important message I want to spread is to like keep trudging through it, because you're gonna find the other side of it one day, but it might take some time, but you'll get there.
Are you able to write? I love that, and again, it's really helpful to hear it, and it's helpful to hear it in such a beautiful song. Songs, period, right? Or plural, period. I'm an English teacher. Are you able, when you're in that muck, are you able to write about it, or is it something you have to have sort of space in order to process?
For those songs, yeah, I was in it, and like for example, there was She's Using, and I went into a write with a guy named Mondo Signs who lives in Nashville.
He's great.
He's great. And those like 9 a.m. writes are like can go one of two ways. You can just like, you can be talking through the whole thing, or just be kind of like begrudgingly waking up to do this thing that you're scheduled to do. You don't want to do it. And I kind of felt that a little bit from my end, and I felt it a little bit from him, but I really just I knew that he was good at writing sad songs, and I was going through sad stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I know it's like 9:15 right now, but this is what's going on with me, and I want to talk about it. And I was saying, you know, my aunt, who's she was talking about her daughter, and basically saying like, I feel she was struggling with substance abuse, and kind of just left. We didn't hear from her for what felt like forever. And she said, I feel like she's like passed away. Like, I feel like she's died, but like no one's bringing me casseroles, no one's bringing me flowers, it's like something that I'm not supposed to talk about, but it's like I want to scream about it. Like, I'm just supposed to move on with my life. And as soon as I said that line, his ears perked up, and it just kind of all came to us so quickly after I had that moment, you know. And I feel like hearing such personal lines like that, I feel like she's died, but no one's bringing me flowers or casseroles. I feel like those things don't happen unless you're like really going through it, like right then. Like, those lines don't really stick out to you unless you're going through something like that, or you've written it down. But I feel like I was able to articulate it best because it was like I wanted to so accurately put it together and be exactly what was happening. And it felt really unique, the situation. But as I've played it, you know, live for people, I found out that songs like that are not unique, and I think going through those things, you know, helps you reach out to people that feel like they're alone in that situation. Like, it's only happening to me, and I feel like I can't talk about it. But when I get up on stage and I talk about it, you know, so many people know somebody who struggles with substance abuse or alcoholism or drug abuse, and I just can't not talk about those things. Like, I have to. That was the hardest thing about what I was going through, is I was like, this is such a common issue. Why do I feel like alone in this? Why do I feel alone in having like a toxic family member that's like a narcissist? Like, I feel like I shouldn't be talking about this, but also fuck that. Like, I'm going to call it out for what it is, because it's bullshit that we have to keep it to ourselves and be ashamed of something that everyone has gone through at some point, or know somebody that has done that. So I feel like going through it makes you articulate it best.
The casserole line was written here to ask you about, because it just like totally laid me out. You know, and that song in particular lays me out because, like you said, that's a universal experience, unfortunately, right? Or maybe unfortunately isn't the right word exactly, right?
No, I mean, to know that like there's a happy ending of it. She came home. She's doing great right now, and it's something that it's an ongoing struggle too. And it's like, you know, there's never going to be a finish line with someone who struggles with that.
Yeah.
But to just hang with them and to just like love and support them through it, and know that they're going to have somebody when they come home. Like, that's all that, like, I want to tell people, like, whenever they know somebody who's going through that, is just like, hang with it. Like, as long as they know that they have somewhere to come back to, you may see them or you might not, but you have to give them that safety blanket that they have somewhere to be someday.
I loved how your live show is incredible, by the way. You have such a presence. Your timing is great. The pacing is great. I mean, it was just a fantastic show. Like, festival set, but which can be tricky, and you just slayed it.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah. And your band is fucking, you know, red hot too.
Thank
right?
you. I've worked my whole life to have that band, and they are just individually like the greatest men I know, and they're such great players that I'm like so lucky to get to have, you know, back behind me. They feel like my brothers, and I feel really lucky to have them. So
I also haven't laughed much in the last few weeks, but when you made that comment,
did I make you giggle?
I laughed my fucking ass
Which
off
one?
when you started to say Blake Shelton,
Blake
and then you described your guitar player
Blake Griffin
as a mix of Blake Griffin and Pete Davidson,
Yeah.
which he fucking does look like.
Doesn't he? I always mess that up, and I have to look back at Eric, who's like the smart guy in our band who knows every actor's face that you've ever seen. He knows who it is, so I have to be like, what is his name again? What's his name? And he'll say it. But yeah, he looks so much like him, and it's so funny. And he's just as funny as like Pete Davidson.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's a character.
Well, I loved that moment. There are a few moments like that, and so there's another moment I want to talk about that was maybe not quite. It wasn't quite as humorous, but I loved that balance where how like you're not afraid to go out on the sort of heavy emotional limb. You're also not afraid to say Blake Shelton when you met Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin is samesies. Well, I feel I had like my booking agent, whenever I showed him my last album, he said these songs are like really dark, and he's like, you're not a dark person. I said, no, but like I went through some stuff, but I feel like whenever I was going through that stuff, we would laugh at just how hilariously fucked up our lives would be at that point. Like that, I laughed so much during the worst times of my life because it's so matter of fact, and it doesn't, like, I don't know. I think that some things are just, you just have to laugh at. And like, for example, I'm going to talk about last night at Cheesecake Factory. Last night, so our bass player's sister just passed away. Mm-hmm. Tragic, unexpected. And our waiter, I mean, it's stuff that you like, you're trying to be serious about, but you just like can't help but laugh. Stuff just happens, and it's funny. Yeah. Last night, the waiter kept coming back up to our bass player saying, "I'm so sorry. Like we don't have what he wanted, a double gin and tonic." And he said, "Man, I'm so sorry. We don't have gin." Like, we're the Cheesecake Factory. You guys have everything. And so he's like, "Okay, I'll have this instead." And then he orders his food, and they don't have his food. And he's just like, "Man, I'm so sorry, man. I need to get you another drink so you can. We're gonna drink. You're gonna have to drink your sorrows away." And we're just like, "Dude, shut up!" But it's like one of those things, like, oh God, like. But it's stuff like that where the universe is like telling you to laugh, and like, even though it's a tragic part in your life, you can't. I don't know. There's some light in there, and to make light of it, and to see the joy in like the hard times. I don't know. Yeah. Well, there's another moment too. The Cheesecake Factory doesn't have gin. They like what in the world? They were like, we ordered some. But we're like, of course this would be happening. It happened 3 times at the table last night that they didn't have what he wanted. Yeah. And he had to keep coming up to him. We're just like, how is this happening to Eric right now? Like how, like. I also kind of want to unpack the fact that you have this badass country rock and roll band, and you're on tour, and your choice for dinner was the Cheesecake Factory. It was the only thing that was open, and we tried to go to Olive Garden first. Okay, that's acceptable though, I think. And they said it was open till 11, but they lied on Google, and so then we went to Cheesecake Factory, which was exceptionally better. So I kind of feel like the Olive Garden is the acceptable chain of acceptable chains. It is. It's so good. The salad. So good. You're going to feel awful afterward, but it's so the endless pasta, good. Just and the breadsticks. Yep. They probably have gin. They would have had gin for us. They would have had handfuls of those Andes mints that I love. Yeah, but there wouldn't have been any laughs. You guys would just sat there very stoic. They would have had everything we needed. We couldn't have laughed at anything. Nothing good. Anything tragic. I know, right? There was another moment on stage that I found really helpful, and I liked how you did a really good job, if I may give you this compliment. A lot of times when people come to Florida, they clown on Florida on stage, and they do it in a mean way or a stupid way. And you didn't. You were very... What would they say? They'll say, they'll like spit out Florida man tropes, and, like one time... All right, I'm going to call it Jeff Tweedy. Let's do this. So, Jeff Tweedy... We're spilling the tea today. Yeah, let's do it. Jeff Tweedy came... this has been like 11 years. But he came to St. Augustine, and he comes out, and he's like, "Hello, St. Augustine. It's a bit buggy, isn't it?" And it was just like, it wasn't funny. This guy stinks. Yeah. And then he was like, "Where I come from, we pronounce it St. Augustine." And then he just sounded pretentious. Yeah. Now, it ended up being the best show I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, but still. But still, it was like, but that kind of thing happens a lot. Yeah. Where somebody tries to make a joke, and the joke just is either not good or... Doesn't land. Yeah. But you sort of recognized our fucked upness
and sort of identified with it.
Well, yeah, because I think, well, like, I think you might be talking about like the blood and like, you guys understand, you're from Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you understand how crazy family can be.
Yeah.
I say that in every state I go to because everyone can relate to having a crazy family in Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma. Y'all are Okies. You understand.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, and they just want something to identify with. But yes, like, I don't know.
Well, in that moment with blood too, you also said you were. I believe that was during that same moment. It must have been where you said you were talking about the idea of that you alluded to earlier of having a toxic family member and a toxic relationship, and how, like, I love how you said this, and I feel like more of us are saying this openly now. More people are discussing the idea.
Thank
that,
you,
like,
TikTok, for letting us have a platform to talk about our crazy family.
Well, about the idea that, like, you don't have to. They don't necessarily get a seat at your table if they're going to treat you poorly.
No, they don't.
Right? Like, the idea that family automatically gets to be in your life just because they're family, if they're treating you poorly, no, they fucking don't.
No, they don't.
That's not okay.
No, I've gone 2 years no contact with mine, and it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. There's so much weight lifted off, and I think that, like, that's like a new thing. Like, no contact is a new age thing for millennials and Gen Z. I feel like there's just more encouragement from the outside world to again, like, but it's shame, like, with, you know, that's your dad. Like, how could you? Like, because he's a terrible person. He's not, I need to protect my heart and protect my life. And, like, terrible people don't get access to me, and I don't have time for it. And I think that, like, I've watched so many people just, like, waste their lives trying to cater to these awful people, and then they spend their whole lives doing that, and then for what? For that person to betray them, to abuse them, to make them feel small. No matter where you're at on the scale of, like, you know, being around a narcissist or a family member who makes you feel bad being around them, like, you don't have to do that, and to have the peace, or even if you choose to continue to be around that person, again, like, you're not alone and feeling like, you know, the black sheep of the family, or this person, like, kind of the scapegoat. Or I think giving someone something to sing along to that, you know, feels like, oh, I feel that all the time, like, especially around the holidays. I feel it the most, or the people connect with it the most. Because I think they forget how, like, those little slight comments, like, hit so hard, you know. And I don't know. Family's tough, and you stick around with them just for, like, just no reason at all other than because they're blood, and it's like, you don't have to. You can just say bye. Yeah.
No, that, I mean, and again, thank you, TikTok. But, like, getting back to those,
that
like,
generational trauma, TikTok, I love it. Shout out to my team.
It's you know, those conversations about, like, not having to accept these norms that aren't serving you, right? And that are not far from not serving you, oftentimes are actually taking away from your life or harming you in some way.
Yeah.
I want to shift gears from that for a second, because I want to dive a little bit into process. You were talking about writing with Mondo Signs and you know, in the morning, that kind of writing. What does process look like for you? I feel like I read something somewhere where there was at least a song that sort of came to you in a line, and then the whole thing sort of fell out, and that wasn't necessarily how you normally write. Can you talk about sort of what your process looks like?
It's always different for every song. I'm trying to think of what song that might have been. It might have been Be This Way. I can't remember.
I can't remember what I should have written it down.
For it's all different. Like, sometimes I'm like, it just kind of comes, and I'm not as consistent as I should be. Cleto, my husband, is a songwriter too, and he's such a great songwriter in that he loves to do it every single day, and whenever he has the opportunity to have a day off, he's writing a song, and I am not that way at all. I have to really be kind of zoned in on a project, or like have an intention. I can't just be like writing songs to just, hey, what are you feeling today? Like, I'm not like that at all. So for what else can she do? It was I was only 7 songs, and so those ones were like, I'm going through it right now. Be This Way, I like started writing. I have like 5 pages of scribbled manic writing, just on like 5 different computer paper like scribbles, and just trying to piece together like what do I really want to say and narrow it down. That one kind of flowed out of me a lot in just an insane way.
Computer paper, like a blank,
like a big I use
canvas?
big like computer sheets of paper, and I'll just like scribble like any like lines conversationally that stick out to me.
Yeah.
Or like the casserole line, like that's not something that you can just like come up with. Someone has to say that for you to like, it has to be going through that to really think about it. But most of the time it starts out in my phone notes. Oh my God, look at you.
Well, I'm going to show you, because I want to relate to what you just said. So here's how I normally write, right?
Yeah.
These are mostly notes from old episodes.
Holy shit, that's a big day for you.
This is not. This is like, this is me really questioning existence.
See, but yours isn't a straight line.
It is until, wait for it.
Okay.
It is until.
I love this. Oh, here we go. I love the lines.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Breakup's not there yet.
Oh God, I'm so honestly a little excited to see.
Not there yet, and now he's single.
Oh, there it is. See, but okay, that looks about right to me. Mine would be I'm trying to write a song, so I would write like just little fuck you letters, and then whatever stuck out, I would like whatever was like profound, if anything, I would circle it and like be like, okay, we need to figure out how to put that in there. For this next project, I've been writing to like more intentionally to a theme, and I'm really excited for it. It's
okay.
It's a very what's it called, like a concept album. It's
okay.
And I know people say that all the time, but it's full blown like themed after like a movie. And
a particular movie, or
I can't tell you though. We did just record it though, and
you're not telling me, you're telling all the Marinators out there.
I know. Hi, Marinators. The Marinators.
I know, it's good, right?
Can I tell you a funny marination?
Sure, yeah, of course.
Okay, what is the movie? There's a Disney movie where the geese get drunk, and they said that they got marinated. And it's a Disney movie and I watched it as a high schooler, and I was like, oh my God, like they just got drunk, but they called it marinated in their thing. And I posted, and I was drinking at 18 as you do. And I posted on Facebook that me and my friend Morgan were getting marinated that night. And my mom grounded me because she knew what I was talking about. So what's up, Marinators?
Oh, I love that.
We're getting marinated tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I got to still interview Brent Cobb, but after that, I'm getting marinated.
You can probably get marinated before.
You think
before
so?
Brent, yeah. He's probably a little marinated.
Oh, okay, cool. I was gonna have one beer during his set. This is deep into process, everybody. I was gonna have one beer before, like during his set. I haven't had any drinks yet today. I was like, I'll have one beer during his set. So maybe I'll have 2 beers during his set.
Maybe, like he's a little country boy who stays a little happy. Last time I saw him, he said, "All right," he said, "You're the only girl around here, and I know this is uncomfortable, but is there any dip in my beard?" That was the last thing I saw. Last time I saw him was backstage.
Can I ask him about that?
Yeah. I mean, he probably won't remember, but you can.
So a concept album based on a movie.
Concept album based on a movie. I've written with like Natalie Hemby for this album,
what?
2 songs.
Okay.
I've written with Angelina Presley for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm the most proud of it because I like filled all the gaps that I was thinking about for so long, and I just, some of them I don't relate to super personally. Like my last album was so personal.
Yeah.
And but I feel proud because I feel like a songwriter who wrote for like a movie. So but some of them are very personal and sweet, and I feel like it's kind of like the daytime album from, this kind of dark album I had. It's like kind of the opposite side of that, because I am on the other side of it and thriving, honey.
That is obvious. That is apparent.
Thriving, sweating, but thriving.
Those are totally, I love how you're flexing those totally different muscles too, right? Like the dark muscles are a different thing, writing wise.
It's the dark meat.
It's the dark meat. Are you dark meat or white meat? You eat meat?
I like white meat.
Okay.
Wait. I don't know, brown. Oh my God.
What's going on?
Look in rear seat.
What happened to your, okay, there we go.
I like whatever meat.
I don't eat meat, but I was a dark meat person when I did.
I am all inclusive on all the meats.
Okay.
I'll eat whatever. Sophia, what kind of meat do you like back there? We're mixed.
Yes. This whole conversation is mixed in the best way. Let's let it marinate, and then let's let it marinate and see what comes out. Okay, I had other questions for you.
Yes.
I've lost my thread. When you so going back to that idea of flexing those different muscles, do you have to? You're on the other side of this difficult time, right? Do you think you have to be on the other side of that in order to sort of flex those happier muscles, or you think you could have done it?
I could have done it now, for sure. It just was so much more, there was a lot more passion behind it. I was still really angry about it. And I still can be some days really angry about, like, my dad and what he did to me and what he did to my mom. There are days that I am, like, filled with rage, and but I think I let that kind of fuel me sometimes, and I feel like I could go back and write those same songs because they're just the truth. But what was your question?
Whether you're on the other side of the really difficult time, and so you're writing this sort of lighter record, whereas you wrote the dark record during the dark time. And I'm just saying, like, do you have to be sort of in that headspace to write one way or the other, or?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sad songs on this one. There's like one that just feels like, you're not enough, or you're not a certain kind of woman that you think your guy wants you to be, or but I feel like even though I was writing for like a project, I feel like I relate to all the songs in some way. They're not just so like, this is about my person in my life who struggles with this. Like it's just like a little bit more detached, but they do all feel like they came from me, and they're my characters rooted in me somewhere. But I feel like you can be in whatever, I don't know, space, happy or sad, and write a happy or sad song, for me at least. Some people think that you have to be, you write your best songs when you're sad, and I just think that it's kind of like that John Fulbright. Do you listen to John Fulbright?
I love John Fulbright.
He's like, tell me what's so bad about happy. I just think once I heard that, I was like, he's right. Like, you don't have to just like write all these tragic songs and be this like, cryptic, being and this distressed person to write good songs. You can write good songs and be happy, and you can write bad songs and be sad. Yeah,
I mean, the myth of the tortured artist, right?
Yeah, the tortured artist. You don't have to be that. You can be happy, and I mean, that's kind of like how I felt like releasing What Else Can She Do? I felt happy. Like, I was on the other side of it, so I don't know. It was like a weird little thing.
Yeah. Well, this has been such a pleasure, and I figured it would be. We usually end on what you're getting down on, so that's the art that has you inspired at the moment. It could be a film, it could be a music, it could be a painting.
Okay, so painting.
It could be. I've had people say painting.
So my Spotify Wrapped has exposed me.
Uh-oh.
In the best way.
Okay.
I apparently am obsessed with Taylor Swift Midnights. Okay. Which I knew that.
we knew.
I knew that. didn't know how much.
The royal we.
So she's someone who I've always loved and looked up to. She's just fabulous. Someone who I love right now. I listen to mostly pop music.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know if that's like cool or not, but I do. My favorite like new artist right now is Chapel Roan. Have you ever heard of her?
Yeah. So I do this Patreon thing. Shout out Patreon. Patreon.com.
what's up?
Marinade podcast /Marinade podcast. Go find it. It's just search. I do this thing, What We're Getting Down On, where like it's like this, except it's me and my buddy Peter, and we do
Cool.
it once a month. And he mentioned Chapel Roan.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I saw her at the Brooklyn Bowl in Nashville this year,
Mhm.
and it was just, it's like watching Lady Gaga before they're Lady Gaga.
Oh, that's cool.
Like the lights, her singing, her dancing, it's just very, it feels very raw, it feels very organic, and it feels so artsy. And I loved like her audience, like because they're so like inclusive and fun and sweet, and everyone's so considerate of each other. Like I don't know,
cool.
she encourages everyone to dress up in a theme every night.
That's
Every night
dope.
it's a new theme. So I had space theme, which is really easy for me. Okay, I'm gonna go through my.
I'm not sure if we established that you are sitting in a spacesuit right now.
I am. I am.
Just for everybody
If
listening, I
we're
wanna
being
paint this
really
picture.
honest, I did rip during my set in my crotch. So let's be really real. Okay, we're gonna go down. You said inspirational things right now.
Just things that things you're fired up about. Yeah.
Okay. Can I tell you my mood playlist
Hell yeah.
for my next album?
Hell yeah.
Okay, we have Teller Childers.
Okay.
We have Hayes Carl, the K-Mag Yo-Yo. You know that song?
Yeah, man, I had Hayes on the show.
Driving My Life Away, Eddie Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Hands on You, Ashley Monroe. We have the Chicago musical soundtrack. We have the Oklahoma musical soundtrack. We have Good Old Boys Like Me by Don Williams.
Uh-huh.
Bird and the Rifle, Lori McKenna. Little Black Submarines by the Black Keys. No Good, Kaleo. Bang Bang, Nancy Sinatra.
Oh my goodness.
Old Milwaukee's Best, Adam Carroll. Have you listened to Adam Carroll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that song, yeah.
Golden Ring, George Jones, and Waiting on June, Holly Williams.
Oh my god, I can't wait for this record.
Okay, so it's like a mix of all those. So just like, and if you're paying attention, I have a playlist on my Spotify profile of next album mood board. So go there now.
Everyone,
I haven't
right
told
now.
anyone yet, but I have posted it on there. But like,
Marinade exclusive.
yeah, marinated.
Get marinated. Go to Caitlin's Spotify.
There you go. Get in the mood.
Get in the mood.
Get in the mood to get marinated.
Caitlin, this has been such a pleasure. You're amazing.
Thank
you
you.
so
So are
much.
you.
Oh, thanks.
It won't always be this way. I'm sorry that someone broke your heart.
I appreciate that. It's been the hardest week of my life, but my friend said to me recently, grief is not linear.
Yeah.
And there were like 4 days in a row where I was like, well, that's it. My life's over. I can't function as an adult now. And then there were a couple days where I was like, man, fuck this. I'm moving on, stomping.
I really
stomping
like
in
that
my
phase.
boots.
I really love that phase of being brokenhearted. The fuck this. Fuck this. Who do they think I am? I'm better.
Exactly. I know what I bring to the table.
Yeah. The fuck you, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, you need to listen to Wheeler Walker Jr. right
Okay,
now. Have you
okay.
heard that? Have
I
you
know
heard-
who Wheeler Walker Jr. is, but I've never listened.
It's not. Okay. If I'm being, like, politically correct, it's
Uh-huh.
not the greatest.
Uh-huh.
But his song, Fuck You Bitch, is pretty fucking hilarious. And I highly recommend when you're driving home. It's pretty great.
Okay.
It's a great breakup song.
The song that's been getting me through is Lucero's One Last Fuck You.
Oh, okay. Lucero is one of my favorite bands.
I've had Ben on the show. Listen to that episode.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're cool. I played a show with them and Morgan Wade this year.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah.
What a lineup.
I did a full tour with Morgan Wade at the start of this year.
Cool.
And there was one we played at, it was like that new place in Texas, Longhorn Saloon. They've like redone the Longhorn Saloon, and there I was like getting to play with Lucero, who I've looked up to since I was like, I started really listening to them during a breakup myself. They're It's Nights Like These.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, freshman year of college was like my thing that I would listen to Sophia was my roommate. She didn't hear me listen to this alone in my room, but I would. It'd just be really sad and emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
That's a good
playing.
one.
Ben's playing a solo show in Orlando, that's where I live, and on Friday. And my birthday is Wednesday, so it's like my birthday, like one last fuck you show. I can't fucking wait.
I love that
It's
for
gonna
you.
be awesome. Thank you,
I'm glad.
and thank you for everything. This has been amazing.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking me to do this. This is fun.
Good. I'm glad.
We're so fun and hot.
I know we're so fun and hot. Go us. Kaitlin Butts, y'all. Thank you so much, Kaitlin. Thank all of you for listening. KaitlinButts.com for all things Kaitlin. Get a physical copy of What Else Can She Do while you're over there. She also has some great merch. Check all of that out and scoop it up to support Kaitlin. She's awesome, y'all. The song you're hearing in this episode is Blood from What Else Can She Do. You also heard us talk about that tune earlier. MarinadePodcast.com for all things The Marinade. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit. All the things. We're on Spoutable even, y'all. We're on Twitter. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Mastodon. Go find us over there. Subscribe and give us a 5-star rating on your podcast app. Tell a friend about the show. These are all free ways to support the Marinade. Go do that right now while you're listening, please. It makes a big difference for us and costs so little of your time and energy. If you like what we're doing and you can swing it, please consider joining our Patreon community. Just $2 a month, y'all. You get access to Patreon-exclusive content like our show, Jason's Journey, where I talk about the moments that shape my creative life and provide a window into the process of making the Marinade. One of the best days of the month for me is I record with my great friend Peter Haraldson what we're getting down on. We've done a year of these now, y'all. We started in January of 2023. There's now 12 episodes up. And we talk about the art that has us fired up, and it just is so much fun. Peter is hilarious and brilliant, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to record with him every month. And you can find that over on Patreon. You can also try a free trial. See if you like it. No pressure. Try it for 7 days and set a reminder on your phone if you want to cancel. But keep going if you dig it and can swing it. If you want to support the show financially, but you don't want to commit to a monthly subscription, I totally understand that as well. You can Venmo or PayPal us. It's just at the Marinade, and all the money goes right back into making the Marinade. It's how we fund Orange Blossom Revue. It's how we're going to go cover Gasparilla Music Festival. It's how we're hoping to get to Merle Fest and Swanee a couple times next year, and just all of these things that we're really fortunate to do. All of that comes from our Patreon patrons. I put all the money right back into it. So if you can swing it, we'd really appreciate it. But above all, this is a free show, and we're just so thankful that you listen and spread the word about the Marinade. Until next time, go out and create something. Cheers, y'all.